Everybody is concerned about what's happening to the economy. I mean, it wouldn't be too far conjecture to say that it's almost as though America is experiencing a recession that looks like it could be heading into a depression. And I'm praying that Donald Trump's prophecy that you'll see a depression the likes of which you've never seen never happens. But you know, the guy was uncannily accurate in so many things he said. That's why I'm telling my friends to go to Birch Gold right now, lancewallnau.com/Birch. Get the 25-page report on how you can protect your wealth, protect your investments, protect your IRA, protect your retirement. The report that they give you is an explanation as to how commodities and gold and silver variously work during periods of time when the dollar is unstable. I'm telling you, you need to get the education. Knowledge is power. lancewallnau.com/Birch. You won't regret it. It's very seldom that I get to have a dynamic duo team, such as we just heard from Chris Farrell, but his wife, Dr. Shea Bradley Farrell, who has a PhD in international development, worked with the Trump administration, with Pompeo, with the State Department, and brings with her a wealth of perspective. She heads up the Counterpoint Institute. I'd like to bring Dr. Farrell on right now. Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show.
Hey, Lance, thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. And, you know, one of the things that really disturbs me most is when I would go to Jerusalem and I would do like a UN event, and I do it at one of the religious feasts because I'm part Jewish. I got family members, and we'd meet with different heads of state. So many in Africa would come up to me and the Middle East, and they'd say, why is your government forcing us through the State Department to have to wave the LGBT flag? Our funding is tied into us being indoctrinated by your cultural values. Our country, whether it's Muslim or Christian influence, doesn't agree with you. What could you please? I mean, then I'm talking to you for a moment for the broadcast, and I realized I wasn't alone in that experience. What you worked with cultural affairs like this. What in the world is going on? What is the State Department doing? Evangelizing the world with America's wackiest, latest trend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually they are. They don't seem to have an ear for what countries want that we are giving foreign aid to, and they don't have an ear for what taxpayers agree on. My beginning in this began back in the Obama administration when I found out that we were spending billions to promote an LGBT ideology overseas with our foreign aid. And I make that distinction because it is an ideology that we were pushing. I'm not talking about the State Department protecting the human rights of homosexuals who in some countries, in very rare cases, are getting their heads cut off or thrown off buildings because they're homosexual. We should be protecting that. But I'm talking about actual course curriculum that the U.S. Agency for International Development is putting into schools around the world in these developing countries that teach kids how to understand lesbian, gay, transgender issues. And just let me give you a picture of this. I have the curriculum I could show you. Scales, pictures of scales for school children, where on this side of the scale, I feel very homosexual today. On this side, I feel very heterosexual. On this side, I feel like a boy. On this side, I feel like a girl. And then students can decide on the scale how they feel that day. This is the kind of stuff, I can show you the curriculum, like I said, that we're sending over. And it's beyond that. It's like that. You said we're flying flags in countries where they don't believe in these things. I had mentioned to you, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's so intriguing to me, but I mean, this is something the average American ought to know, that the majority of the nations out there don't need the Planned Parenthood inoculation, because they're actually not. I mean, we're battling over abortion as an issue, but if you look at the data globally, most countries already have a settled morality about abortion. They don't think it's something to celebrate or a right to pursue. And the same thing goes with the LGBT agenda. They're not pro-homosexual trying to get more of it. It's the United States that's trying to, in a sense, pollute the world. You talk about we're all worried about environmental pollution. They're polluting the whole globe with our agenda, and I don't think it goes over very well.
It does not go over well. I also have had people from Central Europe, from the Middle East, from Africa, come up to me when I'm traveling, or actually make an appointment to come and see me in my office to say, can you help us? Your government is pushing things into our country that, number one, we don't need, and number two, is against our religious belief and against our culture. You mentioned abortion, and that's also a big deal. So Pew Research has shown that the majority of countries around the world believe homosexuality is immoral. This is not in my words, so please don't jump down my throat. They believe abortion is immoral. So we're sending people over there, and we're sending money over to these countries to push things. And it is a question of freedom of religion. And it is also something, it's a question of something that I call cultural imperialism or ideological colonization. So we're going into countries and they don't want this kind of stuff, and we're pushing it in them. And it's not a great approach to foreign policy.
Wow. Cultural imperialism and ideological, what was it? Indoctrination or what?
Colonization.
Oh, colonization.
So, yeah,
oh, my gosh.
It's like we're involved again in colonialism, but at this time it's with social ideology that they do not want.
My gosh, it's shocking. All right, you're a subject matter expert, doctor. I want you to jump around the globe right now and give me some other thoughts. What do we need to know about Ukraine that we don't know about Ukraine?
Well, I think this is somewhat of an unpopular view, but I think that it's right. It's also backed up by Prime Minister Viktor Orban that the left has had a real problem with, our own administration in the EU. Hungary feels the same way. I think that this war is going to continue to draw out unless we get a leader who can go to the EU and try to broker some sort of peace deal. Like I said, this is not popular, but Ukraine, it is not in their best interest right now what's going on, and they're not winning. And Russia will continue to grind out. You look historically at Chechnya, at what happened there when Russia got done with it. It was like a lunar landscape. And so the Ukrainians, I think it would be in their best interest for us to broker some sort of peace deal. And as far as the United States goes, we are sending, I saw recently another $775 million for security assistance, $3 billion more for something else. We have appropriated over $54 billion. And here's the kicker. We don't know where it's going. Ukraine's not allowed oversight people or accountability personnel, so we don't know where it's going. What about taxpayers again, Lance? What about U.S. taxpayers?
I'll tell you where it's going. It's going to the criminal oligarchs that are lining their pockets. Remember, this is like the third most corrupt country in the world at one point when it was ranked, which is part of the reason why President Trump said, hey, with the Burisma holding, we even know the names of the corrupt shell companies. Hey, what's going on with the Hunter Biden laptop? What's going on over there? And he gets impeached over daring to probe the underbelly of the corrupt setup that's over there. So you have to worry about being unpopular. We've been saying this thing all along. I'm glad to hear somebody else agrees with me.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. So and I'll go one step further. Providentially, as much as I think what Putin has done is inexcusable in terms of his impact on the civilian population who's stuck in the meat grinder over there, the reality is the Davos crowd, the European Union, the World Economic Forum, and their corrupt, perverse sharing of American ideology and environmentalist extremism, they're operating in such a way that they were a threat to Russia's own sovereign nationalist ambitions. And Putin basically pulled out. And when he pulled out, they got more belligerent and they started pushing back on him. And I'll tell you what I really believe. Our State Department has a lot of very pro-LGBTQ sympathizing agents of indoctrination, and Russia is anti that because of their Greek Orthodox or their Orthodox, Russian Orthodox Church influence. And so we wanted to take out Russia. We have an ideological contempt for Russia that has a lot to do with the fact that Russia doesn't agree with our culture. And so I think what Putin actually has done providentially is spiked a nail into the tire of the progress of the EU. And now they're paying, and this winter they're going to pay literally Russia in order to stay warm. We only got 2 minutes left. I got so much I want to talk about, which we can't get into, but maybe real quick. You've been to the border in the United States. Is it possible in 1 minute to explain what you discovered?
No, but I can tell you something that your listeners don't hear about very often. This whole narrative that the Biden administration has of humane, orderly, and safe, and, oh, we have to care for the illegal immigrants. It's a bunch of baloney. I personally have talked to law enforcement down there, federal and local law enforcement, and they are overwhelmed in their words of the number of people that are coming across. And Lance, you guys know this, you have to collaborate with Mexican cartels, corrupt Mexican cartels, in order to come to this country illegally. So they have no regard for human life. And I have personally seen the stash houses where they traffic people from these houses into the interior. And in the words of a police officer down there, that's where bad things happen. And he said he's tired of seeing rape victims, gunshot victims. The agents are demoralized by this. And last thing I'll say is under the Biden administration, we have seen the CBP no longer record the deaths of illegal immigrants coming across. And you know why this is? From me going down and talking to people, I have found that it's because the numbers are increasing. A guy down in Texas, not even in a border county, he's about maybe 30, 40 miles in. He said, I am tired of picking up these dead bodies. I need help.
Oh, my God. This is so shocking. We're going to have you on to tell us more about all of this, Dr. Shea Bradley Farrell. Counterpoint Institute, is that the best place to get in touch with you, Counterpoint Institute?
CounterpointInstitute.org. We'd love for everybody to subscribe to our newsletter and find out what we're doing each month. Follow us also on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and all of that.
We're going to CounterpointInstitute.org. Thank you, Doctor. You'll be back again in the future. We enjoyed working with you today. God bless you.